Hey, good evening, everybody. Bruce Foster here, Jetski Republic. I'm your host. I hope everyone's had a really good week. A bit miserable here with the weather here. It's been a bit up and down. The weekend was pretty good. Light, it got a bit better. Unfortunately, I didn't manage to get out. A few other things on the go. A bit of self care with uh, treated myself treated myself to one of those flotation tanks just for myself to see how it go. Yeah, it was quite an experience. So I hope everybody's good. A few things to get through this week. Obviously, we've got our guest on tonight, George Marquis, Australia's jet ski nomad adventurer. So we'll get him on shortly. But first of all, we're just going to go through. We've got a little quick catch up on some things that are relevant with us. Obviously, we've got. Let's get some of these stuff up here. So, all right. So, some of the stuff's actually been posted on this on our page. So what we had at the weekend there was the triple crown series jet ski World Cup was on at the weekend, and from Australia's perspective, let me just change the layout here. From Australia's perspective, there we had a pretty good representation with the Pro Am Endurance Open over in Poland. We had Kylie Elmers was racing. Give me a second. That's not quite visible. It's probably a bit better that way. See if I can get this opened up right. There we go. Hold on. Got to change that up a little bit just so that people can see it. Alright, so that should be a bit better there now. So, yeah, Kylie got off to a pretty good start in the first race. Managed to pick up the win. Anthony Radicek, he was actually leading it, but ran out of fuel, allowing Kylie to pass on his last lap. He ran out of fuel just short of the finish line. So he obviously picked up the second. Kylie picked up the first, and then good. I'll come to you in a minute, Dean. So Kylie obviously came first. Managed to had some technical issues the following two rounds, Moto 2 and Moto 3. Managing to get 12th, but overall she's put herself in 6th place after the first round. Now they're off to Havensaw for the next round. I'm not entirely sure of the dates of the next round. Somebody might be able to help me out with that one. Off the top of my head, I don't know. And then obviously round 3 finishes in Thailand, so for the King's Cup. So at the moment, Jean Bruno Pastorello is obviously leading the series. Anthony Radicek second, Tori Snyder's third. But Kylie's still in there with a crack at it. So yeah, good on her. Let's just flick through. A little bit of a contentious issue with the event. Let me see if I can. One of the races had Valentina Liscano racing. She won the series overall, but for some reason got disqualified, even although she was checked earlier on. Bit of a technical infringement on her ski, which hadn't been picked up at the start when it was checked then. But because of some complaints from a couple of teams, and apparently it was a bit on the handlebars that was missing. Good morning, Pete. Good afternoon or good evening, Pete. Peter, good evening. Belle, how are you? Dean, I didn't realise Kawasaki's cut their allocation in half for the year. You can't cut an allocation in half when you don't even have it, especially here in Australia. So Yeah, it's a bit of an unusual one, but no doubt it'll filter through on the social medias if that's is that legitimate, Dean? Is that true, or is that just a wind up? Intrigued. I'm intrigued to find out. So anyway, yeah. So Valentina's obviously had a bit of an issue with that. She's gone away from Poland, pretty disappointed, and I can sympathise. I can sympathise with the reasons why. It all seems a bit petty. I guess when the I guess when the companies and people that are backing the series have a certain vested interest, then you kind of wonder whose hands that plays into. So we'll wait and see. But it seemed a bit petty for what it was. But rules are rules, I guess. But if you're going to pick it up at the start. Don't wait until the end. If you're clearing the ski to go, that's it done. You shouldn't be an issue. But whatever. Anyway, so where are we at now? Jet ski racing New Zealand. They had some races on it. They had the enduro races at the weekend as well. We don't have the official results from that yet. Dave Venel was going to try and get them done over the next couple of days. That was yesterday. Unfortunately, they haven't came out. As of yet, they're not been released. I'm not entirely sure what the turnout was like. I think it was a bit hit and miss. First race started off pretty good conditions, nice and smooth. Second race, it picked up quite a little bit, got a bit bumpy. And then obviously by race 3, it was a little bit, it was obviously worse as the day went on. I'm just looking at something here. First race, 30 minutes plus lap race, was flat. Yeah, it doesn't say who won it though. That's the only thing. So yeah, hopefully the results will come through pretty soon. I'm looking at a page called Gunslinger Racing. There's a little report, but it's a personal report from someone. So I'm not entirely sure what the deal is on that. So if we could get a full set of results, that'd be pretty good. But I don't think we're going to get them out tonight. So New South Wales PWC Association, they have put out a proposed calendar for 2022 and 23, and it looks pretty good. I'll put it there. That's a bit easier because then that way you can see the whole page. But yeah, so it looks a pretty decent packed schedule of events. They're the first ones to get theirs out. There's nothing from Victoria yet. There's nothing from Queensland yet. I think Queensland's still got to wrap things up for the year yet. But I believe they might have something coming in September, but I'm not entirely sure. But that's the first proposed calendar for the full season, right through till April next year. So pretty packed. There's going to be clashes with some of the other associations, so interstate racing might be a bit of an issue, but hey, you never know. Might work out for some. And also depends on what days they land, because there's possibility Queensland could be moving to racing on Sunday, but we'll see what happens. See what happens with that one. Where else are we? Nope. So yeah, so that's there. We're just waiting on some of the other associations coming out with their stuff. I think that's I touched on most of the stuff. Yep. Okay, so one thing before we move on, one thing I want to cover when before I get George on, I'm doing, like, I don't know, for any of you that doesn't know or is aware, I got diagnosed with multiple sclerosis last year. I look fine, I look alright, but inside there's a lot going on. But I'm doing a charity walk again this year. I did it last year. and I'm trying to raise money for it. So, guys, if you're looking to help support it, the team link for the charity I'm doing is on the Jet Ski Republic page. I'm going to be plugging this one to death until I get this event out of the way. I want to try and raise as much as I can, and just raise awareness as well. There will also be a jet ski ride with it as well, which will be done on the same weekend. This walk is on the 28th of October, and that same weekend I'll do a jet ski ride as well. Now, the minimum will be 100 k's, which is nothing really. But it may be that we go lapping North Strady, whatever. So we'll figure that one out nearer the time. But everybody's welcome to either join me on the walk, and join the team and help raise money, or if you want, just come along to the ride with me on the Saturday or the Sunday of that same weekend, and we'll get out and just do a ride. And it's really, I just want to get awareness out there for everyone. I'll do a little video of it as well. I did a video last year when I did it, but that was a bit thrown together at the last minute. It was a bit rushed. I kind of had a little bit of footage here and there, and I never really decided to actually put anything together until I went out on the Sunday morning to do the ride on the jet ski. But I didn't really have a lot of the walking footage. So this year I'll be doing it a little bit better. I'll make sure I've got enough footage from both events so I can do a proper awareness video. It'll be a bit better than the last one. And guys, if you want to look at last year's video, it's on our YouTube channel. So have a look at that one. Right, so George, I think you're probably chaffing at the bit there, mate. Let me get you sorted out. Let me close a couple of pages and we'll get you on. Hang on a second. Right, alrighty, let's go. Let's get you up, mate. I'm looking you up now. And he's never where I want him to be. Hope you're ready, George. Let's see how this goes. So Dean got the call today. 2022 is cut by 50%. Cowie Daler. That's not good news, Dean. It's a bit unfortunate. George, how are you, mate?
I'm absolutely amazing. Yourself?
Give me a second. I need to flick the screen over. There we go. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, there we go. George, I'm still taking bad with that beard not being there.
Yeah, no, the wife decided that the beard had to go as soon as I got home. So that was part of my weight savings in trying to drop 17 kilos.
How much weight did that lose you?
I don't know. A couple 100 grams, I reckon.
So how are you traveling since you got back? How are you going?
Yeah, really good. I got back. It was a really long flight coming back, and then delayed with the baggage getting out of Melbourne, but that was okay. And there's a new rule now that if you've been in fresh water in a foreign country, you have to declare that in customs. So I did that.
Really?
I met two people at the customs. I just had a quick chat with them, and they go jets, and they've joined Victorian ski riders, and it turns out they ski on Lake Hume all the time. So that was pretty cool. Just
hold on a second. There's a bit of an issue with the sound, so I'm not entirely sure what's going on here. I don't understand why that would be. 2 seconds. All right, hang on. Right, speak, George, and let me know if you can hear, if anyone can hear it.
Can you guys hear me? Speaking of, I was just saying that I met a new couple as I was going through customs. Have you got that, or am I muted?
No, you. Oh, wait a minute.
The video seems to be out of sync with the words.
Yeah, it will be. Give me a minute. The issue that I have, it's set up. Peter Kovas has said that he's got no sound. Someone said they can hear George all right, so it must be Peter's issue. So he's just threw me a curveball there. Can everybody hear us? Craig Millen's saying the sound is fine, so we're all good.
Okay, cool.
All right, and so everyone can hear George okay, as well as myself. Yes, thumbs up.
Sounds good.
I don't know. I'm waiting on feedback. Yep. Okay, good. All right. All right. Sorry, you were saying the
So
fresh
Peter,
water.
you might have to turn your sound up, buddy.
Yeah, he's probably got it on mute. So the fresh water thing, yeah, that's a weird one.
Yeah, so yeah, fresh water, you had to declare it. Apparently, like going from Phoenix to California, they actually you have to pull your bungs out and you have to dry the hull first before you actually cross over because there's microbes or something or other. Anyway, that was just part of the fun of things we had to declare. Anyway, so I met a new couple. I was just having a chat with a couple that were in line, and turns out they're jet skiers as well. They go jet skiing on Lake Hume, and yeah, so we've there's friends in our community everywhere.
Yeah, we do get everywhere, don't you? You know what it is? If you're wearing something that's got jet ski or something on it, it attracts others. It's like a magnet.
Absolutely.
Almost like a magnet. It gets people looking. You know, even just like I've got the car sticker for Jet Ski Republic on the back of the car, and the number of people that look at it, and when you're sitting at lights, you know, when you're sitting at traffic lights, it's just like, you know, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You can see them all looking, and they're like, oh, I recognise that, you know.
Yeah,
but,
my Florida ski riders top I've had for years, and it's seriously faded. But yeah, it's every time I wear that, people go, "Oh, you're into jet skiing! Oh, wow, that's pretty
George,
cool."
you must be due a new one.
I do think so. Randy said something about there was one coming, and Manny Arreo said there was one coming from Jet Rider Nation as well. But we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. I remember. Let's talk about those jerseys. Actually, those Florida ski riders.
Yeah.
I believe you just pipped me to the post for getting the first one in Australia.
Yeah, I was the first person internationally to get one. And I just loved the colours, and they could match my ski. And that was when
That's what I loved about it. They were able to match a colour on your ski. You just
and at the time I had the fluoro yellow ski.
Yep. Yep.
And it's even got my Marquis Adventures written on the back. Oh, here it is on the back. So it was really cool, and it just fitted in with my ski beautifully. Yeah. That's interesting.
And that's what I liked about it as well, because they could match the colour of your ski for what you wanted. All you had to do was just send through a picture of your ski and they would match it.
Yeah.
But you could also personalise the back of it. Like I got my surname on it, and I actually got the Scottish flag on it as well. So that was pretty. And I took the inspiration from some of the boys that were getting the Puerto Rican flags and all that kind of stuff. So I thought,
so what I've been trying to get them to do was to modify it, because up until now, my GoPro has been on my right chest. There's a bracket for it on my right chest on my PFD. And so continue when I'm riding, you see the inside, can I show it to you? Inside of my right sleeve. So I wanted a logo inside the right sleeve. And they're all saying that's a bit technically challenging, but I think we might have it solved now. I showed them what I meant. But now...
okay.
But now I've actually got
it's because the seam's on the inside.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But most of the seam's at the bottom anyway, so anyway, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
But what I've now got is I've now got a chest mount for the GoPro, which is just a Velcro one that comes over the top, so it goes over the top of whatever you're wearing. Yep. And so now I can get a central image, which is quite good. Unfortunately, I got given it just before I started Dangerous Waters, but I put it in my case that stayed in Seattle rather than putting it in my 30-litre bag that went on the ski with me. So these things happen.
So let's just talk about all that then. So let's go back to the beginning first, okay? So, George, my assumption is, and from what I've seen of you over the years, and let's face it, most people in the jet ski community around the world probably have seen a post from you somewhere. So they're probably aware of you in some shape or form.
Yeah.
You've been going for quite a while. So when did it start for you, the jet ski bug?
So I started the first time I went jet skiing was probably a bit over 40 years ago. Maybe longer than that. I was on an old stand-up ski. 440, does that make sense? I don't know. It was a small stand-up ski.
Hey, you're asking someone that's only been doing it for about 9 years. Come on.
Yeah. And so a friend of ours, she was also student teaching with us at our school, but she brought a stand-up down and she said to us, "Kids, go and have a play on it." Like I was 12 or something or other. And we just played on it the whole day, and it was so much fun. And then I've always wanted to jet ski after that. And I used to, and like my business coaching said that toys have to be paid for with cash. You cannot finance toys. So I was building my business in Queensland, and I used to go down to Runaway Bay and go demo. There's a dealership that actually has their shop right on the water, and you could go and demo skis from their shop and go blasting. And so I'd go down every Saturday and demo skis down there. And in the end, the dealer said to me, he says, George, he says, you either buy a ski or you F off.
So
and at that time, I had to F off. And
right, okay.
So I started sailing when I was in Queensland. And then in 2000, I was working in Brisbane, and I got a promotion to come to Melbourne, and they were going to double my pay. I go, cool, that's cool. And my wife said to me, and we had a 18-month-old and a 2-month-old child. And my wife said to me, she said, and I was racing catamarans at the time, and she said, you've got to get rid of that catamaran. If you're going to move me away from family and friends, I'm not going to be a sailing widow any longer, because I used to go sailing both days of the weekend. And she said, you can get rid of, you've got to sell the catamaran, but you can buy a jet ski. I'm going, really? And so Mooloolaba Sea-Doo was going out of business. And actually that day I'd raced the catamaran at Lake Catharaba, and I stacked it in the race. I just did something stupid and cartwheeled it, and got back at lunch, and this guy came up to me at lunch and said, mate, I love your catamaran. Can I buy it off you? I said, piss off, mate. This is my absolute dream boat. I'm keeping it. He goes, okay, fair enough. I got home. She gave me the ultimatum. I phoned him up. He came round, paid me $1,000 more than I'd paid for the cat. And then midweek later, Mooloolaba Sea-Doo was going out of business, and I got my first GTS. And I went up, picked up the ski, went to Maroochydore to get my license. And you have, in Queensland, as you know, you have to do the on-water test with the instructor on the back. So I got the instructor on the back, did all the navigation. He says, right, mate, you've passed the test. And I said, cool. And I went to grab my backpack for my trip. And he says, where are you going, mate? I said, I'm going for a ride on the ski. I passed my test. He says, mate, you've passed your test. You haven't got your license until you go on the main roads on Monday and pick up your license. I said, man, I'm just going to go. He says, no, you're not. He said, put your ski back on the trailer. I go, what? I said, that's stupid. He says, no, put your ski back on the trailer. So I waited, and he waited. I waited. He waited. Okay, cool. I put the ski back on the trailer.
So he wasn't going to disappear so you could just discreetly slip it back in the water.
That's right. He wasn't. He was hanging around. So I went up to Mullaney on the way, went to Cedar Pocket Dam, put it in at Cedar Pocket Dam, did some laps around there, got home. And it's this time of the year. It's almost 22 years. It's in the next week or so. It would be 22 years exactly from when I first got that ski. And, you know, as you know, in Brisbane, it gets dark at 5 o'clock at night.
Oh,
so
yes.
During the winter. But it was light at 4:30. So I'd go down to the Brecky Creek Hotel and launch the ski at 4:30 and do laps on the Brisbane River, just having absolute good fun. Anyway, that ski was classic. It was the old 80 horsepower 2-stroke.
Yeah, you've gone from making your wife a catamaran. She didn't want to be a catamaran widow, but you've just made her a jet ski widow.
That's it. And I've spent a shitload more money on fuel.
George, I think your wife's maybe trying to tell you something. She doesn't like being in your company that much.
Well, the beautiful thing is when we moved down here, I got into the race scene down here. Used to race the GTS. I then got an RXP, and my wife used to run the barbecues for us. You've been talking about Kylie. Kylie was our race director all that time, and we go back years and years and years, and we used to go touring and stuff like that. But we'd have our races at the National Water Sports Centre, and my wife used to man the barbecue for us with Daniel Piana's mum, Lolita. Lolita and Linda used to run the barbecues. And we used to have to get there we'd race still in the winter. So there'd be frost on the ground, and we'd get out there setting up the course. And of course, as in every other race community around the world, nobody helps. So
listen, that's not just a race community. That's just sport in general.
That's in sport.
When you're relying on volunteers.
So I won the Victorian amateur title. I got the Victorian amateur title one year because I raced in every race, whereas everyone else, I didn't win races, but because I raced in every race, I had the least points.
I was going to say you would have got all the points.
That's it. That's it. So I got the title, and that was pretty cool. I had my RXP, which was a great ski. It had Les's X kit in it, Les Cook X kit in it, and that was an amazing ski to ride until my brother hit a log in one of our rivers. And they said that when you get a gash in the RXP, that it will delaminate. And I'm going, cool, this is going to delaminate. They'll ride it off for me. Cool. Nah. Took 18 months of riding as often as I do. And then on just out after 18 months, and I was doing a demo ride for Peter Stevens. And we'd been going back and forth the whole day out to the thing, everything, taking people out. It was cool. Got back, put the ski on the trailer. Went to I always fill my ski up after a ride so it's ready for the next ride. And pulled in the petrol station. My mate Johnny's there and he's starting to put petrol in the ski. And I looked around. There was no bottom to the ski. The whole gel coat had gone. All it was white fiberglass. Yeah. And so I said to Johnny, stop. That ski doesn't need any more fuel in it. It's a write-off. It got written off. And then I got the first of the black RXT 260s that came into the country. It was supposed to be a demo ski. It wasn't supposed to be sold, but I had a race meeting in South Australia. And so they sold it to me.
So they sold it to you.
I got 8 hours on it in the week that they gave it to me, got its 10-hour service, took it up there. And at that time, the Kawasaki 15Fs and the 300s were just out, and we blew them away on the river in practice, which was silly. I should have just let them do it anyway. And so they went home. Couldn't believe it. It was a big river race and they went home. And anyway, these things happen. I got run off the course at our nationals. The nationals were held at Caribbean Gardens and I got run off the course doing 100k an hour. And I've gone straight up the bank, missed a tree, and cartwheeled off the ski, and I've drifted back down to the water, and everyone's come back to me and said, what the hell's going on? I said, well, my ski's up there. So they all went, grabbed my ski, dragged it back down, got back on. We restarted the race. I think I came second in that heat. The next race, the president of the club got T-boned and broke his hip. And I looked at that and I'm like, nah, I don't need to race anymore. I'll still do river racing. So I love the bridge-to-bridge race, the lock-to-lock type races and stuff. Yep. And now it's all about touring. I think I'm on my 10th ski now. I've now got both.
You've been through a few, mate. You've been through a few. In the time that I've been following you on social media, you've definitely been through a few. Yeah.
I've got the 2021 GTX Limited and the 2022 GTX Limited. And I wasn't supposed to get the 2022 because I've got the 2023 on order. But someone failed the finance things and they phoned me up and said, do you want it? And and I asked the wife and she said, yep, you can have it. But this American trip you're going to do, you can't do 6 months. You can't do 3 months. You've got to be home after 2 months. And she said, and I'd prefer you come straight home after Dangerous Waters. And
I actually like how you managed to do it at, 7.5 weeks. So it wasn't quite the 8-week mark. But hey, listen, I'll just cut it just short of the 8-week mark.
And that's the thing is being the social poster, let's call it. Some people call it a social slut. Oh, sorry, the social poster that I am.
I didn't want to say that.
George, so many people had said, "Man, come to our place. Come and stay with us. Come and use our skis and everything else. Come and join us. This is going to be fantastic." So I'm looking at that and thinking, yeah, well, I need 6 months to do that. And I was going to buy a mobile home, but then COVID was still here and I couldn't get away in January and everything. And the business that I set up in June last year has been the most profitable business that I've ever run. And I actually had surplus for once. And on my goal board, I wrote 15 years ago that I want to do the inside passage. Uh-huh. I had no idea what an inside passage was. I thought it was no, I'm not going to say that. But anyway.
I was going to say, it sounds a bit rude.
I thought it was something rude. But I wrote it on my goal board 15 years ago and started coming across Steve Mole when Brett, one of our mates who was in Victoria, went to become a cameraman for him.
Okay.
And so I followed Steve's trip where he went around the world and everything else. And then he started Dangerous Water Adventures.
Yeah. Yep.
And I've been following that for 5 years and been looking at it. And then I'm mates with Dean and Liz,
Yep.
and we'd been talking and everything else. And through that, Dean went on to do the double trip.
He
Dean
did
and
it
Liz
with
did the
he did
double
it with
trip.
Liz. I think he was a bit annoyed that you beat him to the triple.
Yeah. No, we've just done the trip in the reverse order.
Yep.
And so Dean and Liz went and did that trip, which was pretty cool. And Dean actually organised at that time a rate for me, which was far cheaper than the other rate because there was one spare spot on it.
Yep.
But it didn't fit my budget and it didn't fit my rule of having to pay cash and everything else for the trip. So I didn't go when Dean went. Mind you,
You know what? When Dean went, I'd been following Steve as well, and when I inquired to Steve about how much it was and what was involved, all that kind of stuff, he came back to me and he says, "Listen, I've got somebody here in Australia who's already inquired about it as well. I'll put you in touch with him." So he put me in touch with Dean.
Yeah.
And then Steve gave us an offer to do the trip, but I couldn't. Like it was still too expensive. It was way out of my budget still.
Yeah.
But it was considerably less than what it would have normally have been.
Yeah. Well, this year, once surplus came into my life, I phoned Steve and I said, "Man," because we've been talking each year and he's been trying to get rates and stuff like that. And every night I'm just going, "No way, I can't do that." And this time I said to Steve, "I want to see as much as I can, as quickly as I can, and I want the whole trip." He says, "Cool." He says, "I've got the perfect trip for you." And he says, "Here's the itinerary and you owe me 50% deposit today." And I've looked at the price and I've gone, my God, I didn't expect it to be that. So I went back to him with a message. I said, "Ma'am, Australian exchange rate, all the rest of this, I can't come at that. That's ridiculous." And he worked a discount into it. And he said, "But you still owe me 50% today." And I go, "Okay, that's interesting." So I paid the 50% over a few different installments. My credit card just took an absolute hissy fit. It didn't understand that at all.
Yeah.
So though I said cash, I put it on the credit card and then paid it off that same month. So that's okay. But anyway, so did that. And then some things have gone differently with the business over the last month or the last 2 months, which was interesting. But anyway, got there. And then I'm looking at airfares. I talked to Dean about how do you get an airfare to go to America and everything else. He says, "Oh, you go to all these cheap sites, all the rest of it." And I kept looking at and each day the airfares would go down in price.
Uh-huh.
So I'm thinking, okay. And then by that time, I'd put out my agenda to where I was going, and I got no response from anybody in America. I've lost my thing. No, I'm back. I've lost.
No, that was me. Sorry, that was me.
I got no response from anyone in America of a use of a ski or accommodation or transport or anything else.
Yep.
And I thought, that's interesting. And I thought, well, I want to do it. So what I'm going to do is the only thing I've got is definite is Dangerous Waters.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my friends who I went to university with in Hobart, Tasmania, she lives in Seattle. And 3 weeks after I booked Dangerous Waters, we connected on Facebook. And she said, "Of course, you're coming to stay at my place, aren't you?" And I said, "Absolutely, I am. Absolutely."
Hey, I'm not going to refuse.
Exactly. And so I flew into Seattle, and I thought I'll allow myself extra time because I want to be able to set up phones and everything else. And there was I thought I'd be able to buy an international SIM at LAX.
Nah.
But couldn't buy anything at LAX. So I thought I'll be able to do it at Seattle. No. I thought, okay. And so at Seattle Airport, I've got free Wi-Fi. So I'm doing all the maps and everything. That's cool. So I've gone to the rental car dealer place. Yep. Free Wi-Fi is still working on it. But then I've gone down 2 floors in the multi-story place to the car.
You've lost
no Wi-Fi. And I'm going, how the hell do I find where I've got to go? So I said to the guy at the checkout thing, because you just grab any car from their lot and then they just match it up with your contract and then they agree to the rates, whatever. It was funny. And I said to the guy, I've got to go to this suburb. Where is it? He says, "Oh, that's pretty easy. Just turn right, turn left, turn left, turn right. You're there." I go, "What?" I go, "Okay, cool." And then, of course, the Americans drive on the wrong side of the road. So I'm in the
And,
car.
and was their left or their right? Was that kind of like a couple of miles, a couple of kilometers down the track? Down
And
the
that's the
road.
thing is, all their streets have numbers and everything else. I've got out onto the freeway, and the address I was looking for was 177th Avenue. Cool.
You keep
And
driving.
I've seen 188, and then I've seen 200. I thought, oh, frick, I'm going the wrong way. So I've done a U-bolt, and I ended up in Seattle, near the homeless area. And there's this homeless village in Seattle. Scared the shit out of me. And I drove away from there as quick as I could, and I ended up pulling into a pizza yard. And the first person I ran up to, I said, like, can you just let me hotspot to your phone so I can get this thing? She says, oh no, I'm COVID sensitive. Can't stay away from me. I can't talk to strange people. Down really. And then I talked to a pizza boy, and he says, man, save even hotspot. We'll just put in the thing, and what you can do is you can screenshot the instructions of where you've got to go. You go, beauty. And I just put in the suburb rather than the address. Turns out my friend's place was 15 minutes out of the suburb. Anyway, we got there, and like I got to their, I landed at 3 o'clock. I got to their place at 6:30, and they were thinking, yeah, we're just thinking it's going to be a bit hard to contact you since you don't seem to have a phone. You don't. Anyway, the next day we managed to get AT&T set up, so I had things.
I did that a few years ago when we went to Florida. Exactly the same sort of thing. I thought I'll put into my Jeep, I'll put into my phone the address that I've got to go, and it works fine. It works fine. But if you lose a signal, like I didn't have a signal because I didn't have the SIM card in it. But the thing is, you can actually still use your phone, even though you don't have a SIM card in it, collecting data from online. So as long as you've put your A to B in, it'll still direct you to it. But my phone went off, and I couldn't get it back on again. So, and I'd already missed the turn off, and I was about 10 k's, 10 k's or whatever it passed the turn off. I had to pull over and sit outside a McDonald's and just jump onto their Wi-Fi just to get it reconnected again. Oh, it's an absolute nightmare. So, and it was pissing down with rain as well.
Yeah, well, I use Aldi Mobile here in Australia, which has got unlimited calls and texts, 35 gig of data or whatever it is. Plus, it's got unlimited calls to 20 countries. So I thought I'd have the same over there, but no.
No, you've got international roaming.
No international roaming. I set international roaming on my phone here. Not one of them came through. So it was really cool. 7.5 weeks, I didn't get any prank phone calls. They've started again now. But anyway. And so absolutely blessed to catch up with a friend from uni from 35 years before that or whatever it was. Stayed with them. And then the whole tour, I did the reverse order to Dean and Liz. So I did Seattle to Ketchikan and then Ketchikan to Juneau. And so the day came for Steve. All Steve's details that he gave me was be in Seattle no later than the 31st of May and leave Juneau no earlier than the 22nd of June.
It's a bit open to interpretation.
Yeah, so it's interesting. It's open to interpretation, whatever. Anyway, so then we got to the day that I was supposed to meet up with them, and I found the Dangerous Waters skis at the place we're launching from. Yeah. And as I've looked at, there's a lady down checking out the skis. So I thought, oh, that's another rider who's in there. So I just called out, so hey, are you getting the ride? And there's this Julia Weiss, and she runs the local newspaper in that area. And she says, what's going on with these skis? I said, we're going to Alaska. And she goes, man. So she came up and she starts interviewing me about the trip to Alaska and everything else. And then Steve Mole happens to turn up. He's turned up in his big F-350.
It's huge,
and so she's interviewed him. But so Julia's, she republished my posts every day to her channel and wrote articles about us and everything else. And it was just
kind of a local media darling, eh?
That's right. We're just having good fun.
Yeah.
And so absolutely blessed. And again, kicked into Dangerous Waters. And it's supposed to be Dangerous Water Adventures. We actually rode for 13 days out of the 20, and we had mirror calm waters for all but 1 hour.
While you've just mentioned that, guys, what I'm going to do is we've got George's video here, which Peter Kovas has done. He's put it together for George. There will be a full 4K version of it. If you look up Peter Kovas on his YouTube channel, you'll have the full video plus the audio with it. I'm playing it without the audio so we can still talk. Plus, I don't want to fall foul of any Facebook copyrights, which there would be, because I've heard the full version of it. So I'm just going to play this in the background, George, and we can still talk. So, guys, here's the visuals of George's trip, and you'll see what waters he's talking about.
Yeah, so guys, we did Dangerous Waters. We were all riding Kawasaki Ultras. Steve chooses them because he can run tools on them. He can change spark plugs. There's nothing electrical in them that can fail.
He'd said to me that he found they were the most reliable for what he was trying to do.
Yeah. And again, we had our discussions on that, me being a total sea-doo nut. And again, I reckon I see there's a dolphin there. It was pretty cool. Some of the things we saw, and everyone keeps asking me what's the highlight. And these logs, guys, they just float the logs down the river and then collect them up and take them to a mill. And so there's all this stuff everywhere. And so again, you can see the mirror conditions. We saw great waterfalls. We had wind over tide for 1 hour, and 2 of our friends from Bolivia got washed off their skis, so they had to be rescued. And when they talk about dangerous water, it's because of the temperature of the water, really.
Yeah.
And if you do get bad weather, yes, see the whale there puffing. That was pretty good just there. And so basically, there's 2 sections of the ride: Seattle to Juneau. Seattle to Ketchikan. And so there was 10 customers plus the 2 guides, Steve Mole and his guide. And then we did, and guys, this is the highlight: getting to the glacier and checking out this, it's everything amazing, else we can do here in Australia, but check what we saw here at the glacier. It was just absolutely incredible.
Do you know what's really iconic is the end shot of you guys all going through and amongst all the glaciers. There's about 5 or 6 skis in the shot.
Yeah,
there it is. There it is, right there.
Yeah.
Just coming up now.
So of course, me with my ADD, I was trying to dodge icebergs in here and stuff like that. And I got into a bit where the ice pack just held me in, and I had to full reverse and come out of it. So now we're in Florida. We've actually jumped things. So this is, and now we're back in here. This is the ride up to
just where the springs are.
Silver Springs.
Yep.
Yeah, Silver Springs spring, and there's manatees and things up here. And seriously,
that's amazing.
And here. So it was funny. Once you actually got into Silver Springs, it was dead clear. This is down in South Carolina. We joined the guys from Jet Rider Nation there, which was pretty cool. And this is Captain Jacassi touring us here. Here we're back in South Carolina again here. And this guy fell over, and his dog, that's Max the dog.
The dog fell over as well.
Yeah, Max loved being in the sky. But the other guy who fell over was Chad, and he actually accommodated me and provided a ski for me, which was pretty cool. I jumped off here. I couldn't believe I did it. And then this is back at the Springs from Ellie Ray's. This guy here, this is Daniel Santana. And Daniel actually said to me while we're at South Carolina, he says, "What do you mean you're not coming to Florida?" I said, "Well, no one offered me a place to ski. He said, "Man, I've got 6 skis." He says, "I've got the Model X Tesla. You're coming with me to Florida for a week."
Okay.
I said, "Okay, I'll change my plans. No problems." It was seriously good. And here we are in Phoenix, Arizona. This is on my last couple of days, and it was 111 degrees Fahrenheit here.
You're now back you're back in Florida.
Back in Florida again here with Randy Cabrera.
Randy, yeah.
And so he lent me his triple black RXTX, and that was seriously good fun. And then he's had his drone shot.
I saw that video.
Both Randy and Steve Mole were doing filming while we were moving, whereas I don't quite have that skill.
I actually saw I saw Randy's video that he put together of you visiting and going out to the sandbar and up onto the little private island that they've got as well, which is the shot that's there now. It's on the island, but that was the waters just looked amazing. Yeah, definitely. It's just going to loop now. So anybody who's missed it and is joining us later,
okay, cool,
will still get a glimpse of it. So
yeah,
mate, it's an absolutely stunning trip.
Absolutely. And lots of highlights and things like that in the trip. I was blessed in the first week of the trip. I reckon I was the only person who didn't make $1 million a year who was a customer on the trip. And so that was, to me, was aspirational, that I need to actually lift my game and actually get things going. And just the people we're exposed to and stuff, just seriously cool. And Steve is really big about supporting the First Nations communities and stuff. And we went to one of the villages, and they served this great big pot of Dungeness crab. Oh man, it was delicious. And I was just pig out on crab, absolute pig out on crab. And then to be invited into their home, we stayed.
I'm curious to know, George, what's all the food like? Is it individual people that prepare it ready for you guys to arrive, or is it just you go and catch it, buy it, and then cook it up yourself, or what's the situation there?
Nah, there's no cooking up yourself. Everything was prepared. Again, that's some of the funny things about the trip is what is included and what isn't included, and trying to work that out. And because fuel costs had gone up so dramatically, not as much food was included. Yep. So when we stopped in each of the towns on the way, you might go to the local pub or whatever. Basically, I was doing a tour of chowder up and down the coast, trying to work out where the best chowder was. And it turned out that it's Annabelle's, I think it was, in Ketchikan, was the best chowder we had on the whole trip. There was another chowder that probably would have been better, but the guy, Chris Voris got all of the clams that I should have got. And I just got all this yummy potato taste. And if I'd have got the clams, that one would have won. But because I didn't get that clams, I didn't get the spirits. But so we were doing the chowder test over there. But at Cake, again, staying in, it's a First Nations village, Cake, in Alaska. And they took us on a tour. We were supposed to go fishing with the fishing guide. That was interesting. Basically, there was more casting and no fishing. That was a fun thing. But the other vehicles had seen a live bear. So they took us to the dump, because the bears are always at the dump scavenging. And so we saw a mummy bear and a bait and a cub in its real life instincts. and then we stopped at Melissa's mum's place. She's Patty, and Patty actually cooked for us. What's the fish? There's some sort of Alaskan fish that lives on the bottom of it's a flat fish. Can't think of what it's called, but the way she cooked it up, it was delicious. It was so good. And and then everything else was restaurants. The accommodation was all essentially luxury accommodation. The prices, I think, of the trips next year will go up because all of the providers have jacked the price up on Steve. So that'll all go up. It's the thing is not a cheap trip, but so worth doing. And the people you meet, get to hang out with, lifelong friends. The group that we did the first week have already booked a whole week next year. The second week are looking at the same. I'm doing a tour in July next year. So if anybody wants to join my tour, PM me. As I said, for the 1 week one, basically before airfares, you really want to set aside a minimum of 10 grand.
Yeah. That's Australian dollars.
Minimum of that. Yeah. I tell you, over the 7.5 weeks, it was a shitload more than that for me. And the thing about what my wife decided is that
you have basically done a trip that pretty much any other jet ski rider here in Australia would probably have bitten your arm off for.
Exactly. Well, and again, there's still more to do. There's snowmobiling to be added to it. So just come in. So what my wife's decided, she's accounted for my whole trip already. She's worked out what I spent on that trip. I have to now spend on the house as well.
So there was a bit of blackmail there. Well done, Mrs. Marquis.
Exactly. So she sorted that out. But and again, the people we met people all over the place, and people like Daniel Santana who put up the thing for me to go and stay with him down there. Seriously cool. What an awesome host. And again, my whole trip would have stopped after Dangerous Waters if it hadn't been for Robert Chad Gilling. he's going like, man, you've come this far. You've got to at least come down to South Carolina and join us. He said, I'll bring you down to ski and everything. And he did. He brought me down to ski, but he had another ski of his, but it broke. So he brought his old Polaris, brought that down, and it only lasted about 3/4 of an hour. And that big dog was on the old Polaris with him. And they were having great fun. But I really appreciate the effort that Robert went to for hosting me. And then I went back up to his place up in Michigan, just because I still had a week left. The airlines wouldn't change my fares. They cancelled them, but they wouldn't change them. They reinstated them to what they'd cancelled, but they wouldn't change them for me, really. So up in Michigan, like the state is covered in ice 3 to 4 months of the year.
Yeah.
The lakes freeze to 2 foot deep, and they drive their cars out over the lakes. So I've got to go back in January to experience that.
Have you never seen the ice truckers, mate?
I've never seen anything like that. Yeah,
the ice truckers is on the TV here. I think it's on 7 May.
And snowmobiling, and so there's all these extra things still to do. So guys, I challenge anyone else: get your aspirations, get out there, get financial, and have a ball with these guys. And again, if I get next time I go, because I actually had 2 skis that I had organised to buy new over there, and the dealers cancelled those orders because BRP didn't want to sell to a non-North American citizen. They didn't want them exported. So that didn't happen, but that's okay.
They probably thought you were looking to buy them to export them back to Australia.
Well, I wanted to buy it, put 200 hours on it and sell it was my goal. And every ski that I've had here in Australia, I've bought and sold for more than I bought it for. And I still wanted to do the same over there. But
mate, it's a good bit of business these days, especially with the COVID tax.
Oh, exactly. And with Kawasaki doing their little game of cutting down. Again, they weren't coming to Australia anyway, but that doesn't matter. But
the Jamie 80 at Brisbane Kawasaki had actually said in a little video that he put up as a review of the new 310 that he was getting a couple in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Like that was only last week or something like that.
Yeah.
I'll be intrigued to see how long it actually is before he actually gets them. And we start to see a couple of people out on the water with them.
Well, one of the guys on the South Carolina trip had the new 310.
Yeah.
And man, does it look good with the lights on the front and the fairings that open.
I'm waiting on the punchline, George. I'm waiting on the punchline here. Come on.
It's the first Kawasaki that I've thought sexy enough to think, yep, I'd like to.
Oh, really? Okay.
But again, same as the ultras that we rode all the way to Alaska. As soon as you come off the throttle, they bury the bow and the whole water comes straight over the top.
Is that what happened with the new one as well?
Yep. The Sea-Doos don't do that. So anyway.
That's funny because when Jamie took it out, he did the brake test on it.
Yeah.
And it never dipped forward. But he was adamant that it stopped real quick and that it was really nice to ride and as compared to the previous ones.
It's a great ride. Again, different braking. On the little ultra, I went past. You're not supposed to go past the lead rider, and I was about to go past Steve because I've been watching a whale off to the side or something or other. So I've just reached over and grabbed the reverse, and bang! She went straight under the water, went straight over the top of me, and my God!
Yeah, she would.
So the day we were at the glacier, the water temperature was 1 degree C. The air temperature was 25 degrees C. And when the water comes up and hits you at that cold, takes your breath away.
Yes. It certainly does.
And just one other funny little thing. Like you're talking about ice truckers, there's another thing on there called Alaska's Best Bush Pilots or Most Extreme Bush Pilots.
I think I've seen something like that, yeah.
And that's set around a guy called Kodiak Bob. And of all things, Kodiak Bob was on our first week of the tour. He and his wife.
On the skis?
Yeah. So they were on the ski tour with us.
Okay.
And absolutely fantastic couple. And I started tagging Bob in my photos. My friend from Seattle calls me, she says, George, I know Kodiak Bob. Okay. I'm going, really?
Small world,
says, and coincidence is you know his sister. I said, what? She said, remember 33 years ago when you came over and we camp toured from Seattle to Vancouver and then back down to Los Angeles? I go, yeah. Remember there was a third person with us? Yeah. And she said, that girl is Kodiak Bob's sister. Like, how cool is that?
World, though, eh? That's such a small world.
And one of the other ones, we had Rob and Bev McLean on the first trip as well. And Rod had done Everest Base Camp 4 weeks before starting the tour. I think he's 74 or something like that.
That's not just your average adventure trip, is it?
Oh, no, it's not. But what he did was he got us all in a briefing session. I don't know if you can see this, but this is a memento from Everest. He actually bought these back for all of us. And so two things. It was for, I don't know if you can see it. It was for blessings. And
okay.
Yeah. You see it?
A little bit blurry, but it's not a clear picture. But yeah.
So he bought one of these back for everyone who participated in the ride, and then at the end of the rides they did a presentation and things like that, which was pretty cool. But one of the real cool things is that at the start of every day before you launch, Steve does a prayer giving thanks for the ride and giving thanks for conditions and everything else. And I'm a Christian. It was pretty. So Steve actually gave me a little crucifix. I don't know if you can see that either.
Yep, see that. Yep.
As part of the thing. And yeah, just fantastic people. And then Bob and Jen did awards as well. And they gave me a fishing pole because I was not exactly paying attention all the time.
You're too busy just wanting to get out on the water.
Yeah, well, I've got ADD, and it's when you're riding in a big V and you're looking after the group, what I ended up doing was ride to the back of the group, ride from side to side, so I cover as much distance as I could. Bloody good fun, really. And then to wrap it up, flying out of Detroit, I flew down to Phoenix because that's just the flights that I had.
Yeah.
And so I put a thing in the Phoenix groups, and the guy who heads one of Randy Lavada called me and said, yeah, come have dinner with us. That'd be cool. And then Wayne responded. He said, man, he says, I've been following you for ages. He says, come to my place. He says, actually, what I'll do is I'll meet you at the airport. And then when I got to the airport, he says, actually, take my car. You go to dinner with the others and come back to my place and stay at my place. Cool. And then we went up and he lent me his wife's ski and we went to Canyon Lake at Phoenix. Yeah. And that's those shots there that have come through for the Arizona stuff.
Yeah, the Arizona stuff. Yeah.
And so, yeah, again, I just want to give everyone thanks for the generosity where I could coordinate it and stuff like that. And again, a part of it was my failing in that all these people that had said, yes, come and do it. I didn't write down their specific names, and you just send out a message in Facebook and they don't get the message. So once I actually started writing back to the people that it was specifically saying things, we got things to work, and it was really cool. And definitely blessed the amount of time that both Robert Chad Gilling put together for me and Daniel Santana. I'm very thankful for what they did to extend my trip. It would have become an awful lot more expensive if they hadn't come to my rescue.
Hey, listen, we here in Australia, we're all watching all the various American riders out there through all the communities, whether it be Randy or whoever, even Craig up in New York. Guys like that. We follow what they get up to all the time through the social medias, and we're waiting, like even down to Adam Buckler, who I was speaking to last week. So we're waiting on the day when they start coming here. So,
exactly. So again, I'm still extending invite, and like when I'm extending the invite, my skis are available, accommodations available. We'll get you transport. Come on down, guys. Come on down. Yeah. And like we've got some awesome places here in Victoria to visit. We've got awesome places in Queensland to visit. I've found a new ride in New South Wales, which is south of Botany Bay, down to some Seacliff Bridge. And there's so many things for us to see. And I can't wait for my mates from America to come down here and enjoy our
I think
hospitality.
we're all waiting on some of them making the trip down here so we can,
Exactly.
like we joke with some of them in regards to the Vegemite and things here bite you and want to kill you and all that kind of stuff, and
Oh,
so we just wind them up about that.
And they've all heard this thing that Foster's is the beer we drink here. Man,
oh God, no,
not in the slightest. Not in the slightest.
It gets exported for a reason.
Exactly. But when you do go to Alaska, if you try the Alaskan Amber Ale, man, that was good. It was seriously nice to drink.
Man, it sounds like a great time, mate. I'm jealous.
Yeah.
I won't hide it. I'm jealous. Listen, George, give you a shout out before you go. I normally give every guest the chance to say thanks to whoever they want to say thanks to, supporters, your wife. I'll just say that for you just in case you forget. So the floor is yours. On your
Yeah, cool. Yeah. So as I've said, there's just been so many people. I actually wrote down a list, but I'm going to miss too many people. But like again, Steve Mole for the inspiration of the trip up there, and actually fixing a few accommodation challenges that I had as well, helping me out with that stuff, and also the offer for putting on a tour for us next year, which is pretty cool. Melissa and Dan Rogers, they're pretty cool. They're from up at where they get crayfish. I'm trying to scale these and pretty cool people. There's so many of those. What do we got here? Basil Al Ruby, Tim and Nancy Bagland, James Glover, Manny Araya, all those guys from Jet Rider Nation who put on the South Carolina ride. That was so cool down there. Again, I keep talking about Robert, and it was really funny. We got to meet Robert's mum, Connie Gilling, there in Caro. And I got to meet all the locals in Caro. That was pretty cool. Daniel Santana, again, thank you for hosting me in Florida. That was so cool. And Lewis M. Riviera. And like I kept saying to Daniel, where do you actually live in Tampa? He says, I live in Tampa. I'm going, we've driven for over an hour and we're still not at your place. He says, no, I'm in Tampa. I said, well, what about this other thing? Isn't this a suburb? No. But anyway, Lewis drove 2 hours to pick me up, to take me so I could go for the ride with Randy. So that was really cool. And Lewis has got his jet ski addiction and he's discovering Florida waterways. No, I'm going to get those wrong, but anyway.
Listen, you had a couple of photographs I saw came up, and it was quite clear to me that one of your hosts had obviously taken a day off work and didn't want to be rumbled through social media.
Yes.
Because they had their masks like that.
Oh, no. No, that's Daniel. Daniel, like me, spends too much time in the sun and needs to be as covered all the time.
I thought he was taking a sickie from work. And that's
no. There was one. There was one who took a sickie from work to come down and meet me. And he didn't ride, but yes, so his photos have all been banned. Yeah, they weren't shown. Jet Ski Cindy, she took us to Silver Springs. That was seriously cool. Daniel took us to the sandbar and took us on, I'm going to get this term wrong, hydroboarding or whatever it was, where we jumped on the jet, came out of the water.
Hydroboarding,
yeah. Somehow or another, that's not in the edit, but anyway, that was so cool. We saw alligators in the residential lake straight outside Daniel's house.
Yep.
This is in Tampa. This is crazy stuff. And these guys go swimming in that water.
George, I was over there 4 years ago in Orlando, and a couple of weeks before I went there, a young boy got taken by an alligator in a residential area in the Orlando area.
Yeah.
So
it's just crazy stuff. And they go swimming in it. It's crazy. I think I missed that Basil guided us at Ellie Ray's. That was really cool. What have we got here? Drove to Toronto. Oh, of all things, I was messaging with my nephew. He says, where are you? And I said, I'm driving to Toronto. He says, I moved to Toronto last week. So I got together with my nephew, had beers with him. That was pretty cool. Caught up with Mark Forrest from Forest Sound. And we did have a deal organised where we had a couple of skis available, but things got too public on that, and that all got reversed. But that's a different issue. But Mark does lots of videos all around the Canadian waters. And last week, just to rub it into me because I couldn't do it, he went and did. He rode down to Buffalo, so he went to the US side and to Niagara, special places. Chad took us to Mackinaw Island, and it's really weird. It's called Mackinaw, but it's spelt Mackinac anyway. But there are no motorized vehicles on the island. Everything is horse-drawn. It's really cool. Mind you, there are snowmobiles. Snowmobiles are allowed because they don't have wheels.
Yep.
Don't quite understand that.
Okay.
And again, Wayne and Carol and Shannon for their hospitality in Phoenix. That was seriously cool. Go back up to the start for Kathy and Craig Hawkins up in Seattle. That was cool. And also catching up with Steve Barberic actually on my last night in LA. And it turns out it was his birthday. So we got the crew at the Mexican restaurant to sing him happy birthday. That was pretty cool. Definitely blessed. And there were hundreds of other people who came up to me on the rides. And the first day I was somewhere, and this guy said, "Oh, you're George from Australia." I go, "What?" And he wasn't even associated with the guys from the South Carolina ride. I'm thinking, really? And just the number of people who came up and just said how much joy they've had out of the joy that I keep showing out of things. So that was so blessed. And I really appreciate it. So sorry, guys.
George, it's like I said at the very start, mate. Your reach is probably extends more than a lot of people give credit for, because you pop up in all the jet ski groups. And just even if it's not just on a regular basis, there's always something pops up somewhere.
Exactly, so, and the number of people who just said that they love the joy. And again, I've been blessed with the skis that I've got. And I'm blessed with the support service that I get here in Victoria from Melbourne Sea-Doo. They keep me on the water. And again, the key to that is I have new skis now, always under warranty. And if I don't touch them, I don't modify them at all. If they break, I take them back and say, "You guys did it all, so you guys fix it." So I really appreciate the support I've always had from Melbourne Sea-Doo. And again, the family support. As I said, my wife actually has her jet ski license. Only rides the skis when we go to Renmark when it's about 40 degrees and she can get out there. So again, thanks to my wife and the kids. The kids love the jet skiing as well, but unfortunately, my daughters have all discovered boys and work, so they don't want to come and play with Dad anymore.
Dad's not cool anymore because he's always
that's it. So the first day back, we got both my skis in the water, and Mike Mortimer brought his 7-year-old daughter out, and we were out jumping the waves out there. It was so good to be back. I saw that.
You weren't hanging about, mate. You weren't hanging about.
That's right. And be able to flog the ski and not worry about it because it's set up for what I do. It's not like you were waiting on. It's not like you were using someone else's, so you get a chance to just open it up. That's it.
Listen, George, guys, before we go, George is obviously. He's always open to meeting new people, as you've already gathered. If you're down in Victoria, you're looking for a ride, look up George and some of the other guys in the Victoria Ski Riders group. George especially, Dean, some of the other guys. They're always looking for people to go out with and take out, whether you be a rookie or the more experienced. You're more than welcome to have you come tagging along. So, okay, cool.
Thank you very much, Bruce.
George. All the best, mate. And hopefully at some point we shall meet face to face. When are you next up in Queensland?
Could be in 2 weeks' time, actually. My dad lives in Kangaroo Point.
That's
and I'm trying to find out a really good excuse for me to drive up again.
A really good excuse. You better go up here quick before they close the borders again with COVID. No, I'm joking. Anyway, maybe I'm joking, but it might happen. I don't know.
Well, Victoria won't go back into lockdown because we've got an election in December or November. So we're not going back into lockdown this year.
I don't think we're going to go lockdown, but I think they're going to be mandating masks again and the way things are heading. So we'll see what happens.
That was the funny thing. Getting on the plane back from LA, we had to wear masks again. Whereas going to LA, I didn't have to wear a mask.
Yeah. And then I think, did you have to wear the masks in the airport when you got here?
No, once we were through customs,
take them off by that
take
point.
it off.
The mandate was lifted by that point. Yep, okay. They'd only just been lifted, I think, about a week before you got here then.
Yeah, but it was...
Because you had to wear them in the airports, obviously.
Well, outbound, I didn't have to wear it.
Oh, okay.
coming back in, I had to wear it.
Okay.
So,
Unusual.
yeah.
All right then, George.
Thank you very much, Bruce.
We shall
Appreciate
see
it.
you around, and we'll keep in touch, and we'll keep a view on what you're getting up to.
Good on you.
All the best, mate.
Thank you.
All right, take care. So there we go. George Marquis, Australia, sorry. Jet ski nomad. That's probably the best way to describe him, because he's always getting about, whether it be Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria, obviously into America now. So he's making plans for next year already. And what I didn't allude to, George did mention it earlier, he is planning on going back next year. So if anyone's interested and you have rather large, deep pockets, then hit him up, and or look up Steve's page, Steve Moll's Dangerous Waters Adventures. Look him up and make an inquiry. You can look him up on the web page as well, dangerouswatersadventures.com, and just drop Steve a message and see what he's got on offer for you. It's a bucket list item for me, and I'm hoping I can do it at some point. So fingers crossed I win the lottery or something. Okay, guys. I think it pretty much covered most stuff that we were going to cover tonight. I thank everybody for tuning in. I really appreciate your time, George. Thanks again for giving up your time. And like I say, the video of George's trip, the full version with the audio, if you look up YouTube channel Peter Kovas, you'll find the full version of the video there. I'm pretty sure after this has finished, George will probably be sharing it out to all the platforms as well, so you'll catch a glimpse of it somewhere. Guys, and wherever you are and whatever you're up to this coming weekend, have a great time. If you're out on the water, enjoy it, love it, enjoy the whole experience, be safe, look after yourself, look after each other. We ride as one, okay? So out in numbers, and keep each other company and keep each other safe. Till next week, all the best. Take care.